my fellow Americans, as President and Commander-in-Chief, it is my duty to the American people to report that renewed hostile actions against United States ships on the high seas in the Gulf of Tonkin have today required me to order the military forces of the United States to take action in reply.
President Lyndon Johnson authorized Operation Rolling Thunder in response to the North Vietnamese aggression. The United States had officially entered the Vietnam War, and soon the 5th Marine Regiment would be called to duty once again.
They say a man dies twice. First when he leaves his body, and second when his name is not spoken anymore. The importance of this memorial is to honor the 2,706 Marines of the 5th Marine Regiment that served our country in Vietnam. They stepped forward when 16 million of our peers stepped sideways and backwards.
The 5th Marine Regiment is the most highly decorated infantry regiment in the history of the United States Marine Corps. Based at Camp Pendleton, California, the regiment comprises of 4 infantry battalions with 1 headquarters company. This storied regiment served in Vietnam from May 1966 to April 1971. The following 5th Marine Infantry battalions served with distinction: Battalion 1-5, Battalion 2-5, Battalion 3-5, Battalion 2-4. From Operation Swift, Union 1 and 2 to Hue City, 2,706 Marines and sailors gave their lives serving in Vietnam.
By honoring these 2,706 Marines, we not only honor them, we honor their loved ones, we honor ourselves, and as a nation, we mark with recognition and validation the sacrifice that they made for our country back in Vietnam 50 years ago.
Let's review some of the major battles fought by our brave Marines and sailors while deployed in Vietnam. Operation Prairie. 5th Marine casualties: 226 killed, 1,159 wounded, with 5 helicopters shot down. Captain Howard V. Lee, 2nd Battalion, 4th Marines, was awarded the Medal of Honor for his outstanding bravery during Operation Prairie. In 1967, Operations Union 1 and Union 2 inflicted over 3,000 enemy casualties and eliminated the 2nd North Vietnamese Army Division as a combat force to be reckoned with for many months. 5th Marine casualties were 110 killed, 241 wounded. In reward for this tremendous military accomplishment, President Johnson awarded the entire 5th Marine Regiment a Presidential Unit Citation. In 1968, the Battle of Hue City was one of the bloodiest and longest battles of the Vietnam War. Communist forces casualties were estimated at 2,400 to 8,000. 5th Marine casualties were 668 dead and 3,707 wounded.
At that junction of life and death, at my particular situation in Vietnam, thank God life prevailed.
The length, intensity, and copious amounts of media coverage began to turn an already skeptical public increasingly against the war. The 1960s were some of the most tumultuous and turbulent times in U.S. history, and the Vietnam War became its poster child. Throughout the war and after it ended, returning to the States was quite different for most Vietnam veterans. There were no victory parades or welcome home rallies. They were often portrayed as baby killers, psychos, drug addicts, and warmongers.
Those of us that came home were either blamed for going or for losing. It was a difficult situation, so most of us pulled back. Most of us kind of figured it out on our own. There weren't a whole lot of programs that came, and it took a lot of us decades to get it together.
In contrast, when the 5th Marines returned home from World War II in 1945, They were greeted as national heroes. But considering Vietnam, due to the draft, many had no choice but to serve, survive, and hopefully return home to their loved ones.
We put together plaques for each company, Foxtrot, Golf, HNS, Echo, whatever. And when that dedication happened at Camp Horno, the current 2nd Battalion, 1st Marines fell out for it. In dress blues, they stood at attention. We went into the Memorial Garden. There were about 300 of us, Vietnam veterans that came to that with their wives and so forth. It was an incredible moment. To those 2-1 Marines of today, that was a meaningful moment when they got to watch us touch the names, touch the face, so to speak, of our guys.
The legacy of the Fighting 5th Marines lives on today at the Memorial Gardens of Camp San Mateo at Camp Pendleton, California. The hallowed site that honors the names and units of the fallen warriors from Iraq and Afghanistan will now be joined by a new memorial honoring the 2,706 Marines and sailors who gave their lives for their nation during the Vietnam War. Other memorials include these 19 trees planted in remembrance of the 19th Marines killed in the April 2000 crash of an Osprey aircraft in Arizona. The 5th Marines is the most decorated regiment in the Marine Corps today, and every member of this regiment, past or present, understand their role in upholding the legacy of this prestigious and highly respected unit. The Marines and sailors of today stand on the shoulders of the great Marines who have preceded them. It is certainly time that the sacrifices of the 5th Marine Regiment in the Vietnam War are recognized with a special memorial monument, to be created, transported, and erected in the Memorial Garden at their home in Camp Pendleton.
To properly honor and to properly validate the service that these men gave for our country is the right thing to do.